Hello there and welcome back to Satisfactory. Yes, we're back on Satisfactory once again, going to be continuing a single player playthrough on 1.1, yes. So, if you went to last time or the end of last week, it's a bit of a weird one for us. I'll get to that in just a little bit. We'll get to that why in just a little bit. But we had gotten our radio control units factory finished and up and running, as well as that allows us our pressure conversion queues to be up and running as well. So that both those factories are up and running, which is very, very nice. So today's plan is to build some rails through the grasslands loop and in that area. So yeah, it should be a little bit of a slow episode, but we'll get into that. So let's go ahead and get on into it, I guess, and let's go. All right, and here we are. So a few things before we get started here. Well, I guess a few things, I suppose. First things first, I am still sick. I've been sick since Friday. That's why the Friday episode didn't go out, and all the other episodes that are supposed to go out over the weekend, that kind of stuff, has also been delayed and stuff like that. It has gone out at least, but it has been very miserable Friday and most of Saturday and partial of Sunday as well. I've spent more time over this weekend asleep than awake. I've spent more time in bed. It is it's I guess it's kind of like a flu, but it's not. You don't get all the nastiness, I guess, of a flu. I mean, I still get the head cold and everything, but yeah, it's pretty intense. I've been taking several bits of cold medicine and stuff like that, so you know, hopped up on cold medicine. This is the kind of cold medicine that if you drink it, you know, obviously if you drink the medicine and whatnot, you get a, I don't know how to explain it in friendly terms, but it does give you a bit of a weird thing. So yeah, I'm kind of out of it a little bit, I guess you could say. But anyway, so that was one of the one thing. So the other thing I was thinking of, and I had this idea over the weekend, even though I was still sick, I was still having ideas about how I could make this work. So let's go ahead and make our way over here. Oh, also, this episode is probably going to be shorter than normal, because yeah, I just don't. That's the reason I'm also, you know, not very energetic and stuff like that. I might sound a little bit sick. Yeah, I'm still sick. It's still there quite a bit. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, so I was thinking about it because in the center here, roughly right about here, or I was thinking up there last time as well, I wanted the supercomputer factory to be kind of the central build on this this grasslands loop, which I think was a pretty good idea. And I was just trying to rack my brain on how to make that work with rails and stuff like that. So we are going to be building mostly rail today, but we're also going to get a little bit of a start on the supercomputer factory as well. You know, just something easier for my brain to focus on. I can't. There's no way I can be doing a factory and doing all the math and stuff like that. My brain's like, no, we're doing simple things today. So yeah, we'll still get her done, but yeah, definitely sick. So yeah, you know, hopefully you can forgive the low energy of this video. We're still gonna get it out though, and I still need to do the Monday's episode as well, which is you know, gonna be interesting. So that one might be short as well, of course. Yeah, just everything's just kind of been shorter recently. Okay. So, the thing I want to do, and this was the idea that I came up with, is I want to build a factory right here. I want to build the factory right here. The factory's going to be above our train stations, so we're going to build the train stations as well as this train station set. We need 5 train stations for the supercomputer factory. If you remember, we're using the super state computer recipe, and yes, I know this one's much easier to build, and we could build that right now. This one we have to build a battery factory, but I want to use this one because of the reason that we have to build a battery factory. Otherwise, there's no reason to ever build a battery factory, and I think using this recipe will, you know, that'll be much better, because then we can build a battery factory, so we have to whatever, you know, hopefully that makes somewhat sense. You know? But yeah, so we need 5 train stations, 1 for each item, plus we need the 4 train stations bringing in, and the 1 train station exporting the supercomputers according to our rules. We're going to be doing that. So I came up with a really awesome idea to both combine the T-junction that needs to go in here, because if you remember, we also need a jetpack here. We also need a T-junction that goes across here and goes down that way towards our where some of our Phase 4 factories are going to be. We're going to have 2 Phase 4 factories down past that bridge. Basically being stuck in both of those void holes that are over there. I kind of want to put a rail down there and get 2 factories down there as well as that'll be a little bit of a shortcut to the grasslands from another section of the map, because I believe that that cave that goes into where the uranium is, that cave also exits out. It doesn't exit out somewhere else as well on the map, so I want to kind of utilize that, see if we can fit some rails in there. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so I was just like, well, what if we combine them? What if we combine the T-junction and the factory itself, and then we could have this this grand central station style build that's for our supercomputer factory, as well as part of the T-junction, and we could do some crazy stuff. So I was thinking, have rails going across the top at roughly that level or so. Have those rails going across the top. That's the train stations, which will also be the ones that lead out to both the intersection over there, and of course the intersection that's coming out of that factory right there. But then there's a T-junction section right before the train stations, where you go down the middle, and that middle goes down here and connects to a T-junction underneath the train station, and then that rail line will then go out here and it can follow near the ground level. That way we don't have to start so high. I was just like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. So yeah, like I said, we're roughly going to be about this level or so in order to make this happen correctly. Probably about this level. What we'll probably do is we'll build straight out from here. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a kink in the line, and then we'll go straight out. That way it's a little easier to build. We don't have so many curves and stuff to build, you know, they're custom builds. That's kind of my plan anyway. So yeah, if we go over here, I might have to pull the rail line with me, even if it's just temporary, just so I can, I don't have to be down here on the ground to be able to see stuff. But yeah, I do like the idea of combining both the factory and the T-junction. I think that's a pretty nice touch there. It'll be kind of like the port that we built with all the containers and stuff. It'll be kind of like that, where you got train stations on both sides, and then in the center, rather than just going straight level, that one's actually going to go down. It's going to slope down and then level off in the center, where it can be, or where a T-junction can be built, and then slope back up and then level off right before the 2 intersections on both sides. And then we'll encapsulate all that into something that kind of looks like that, actually. Not obviously without the pods on the side, but it'll be a similar shape like this, or maybe even like that. Not really sure, but that's kind of what I was envisioning, so kind of make that work. Okay, we may have to freeform this a little bit. You also got to be careful of these nodes here that we don't... I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if we build over the top of them. So if we build it like that... I want to try and get myself squared up with this. Yeah, that's actually pretty square right there. So that angle. Okay. So that'll be the angle of the whole build. And then have to get ourselves a centerpiece where we want the centerpiece of the two junctions to be. That's centered, that is not centered. Let's see if this is centered. And freeze. Okay, so I'm thinking these two. Yeah, these two here are center. It's not quite center because of the angle on this end, but I think it'll work out quite well. So if we can go as straight as possible. Why did I do that? Ow. I thought I had my jetpack equipped for some reason. Alright, we'll just take an inhaler and call it a day. It probably need to be down here anyway. Yeah, this will go pretty well through where we need it to go. And then how far out this way we go is going to be interesting. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to S-bend our tracks. Yeah, because I want to be lower, so I don't want to accidentally run into this cliffside. Let's see what this looks like over here. I love Eyes and Ice Fuel in my jetpack. It works so good. A little unyieldy though at times. Okay. Nope. I wanted to zoop that. Okay, so that's not going to run into that cliffside, and obviously there's no cliffsides to run into here either. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can definitely make that work. You know what I kind of want to do? I kind of want to rotate it, though. Ever so slightly. Because I can always turn this. So if we turn it like that, obviously we're gonna have room to be able to make this work. I think we got a good spot here, though. It's gonna take a little bit to get this exactly centered where I want it to be. So, but yeah, so basically what we'll do is we'll come out of the thing and we'll just kind of follow. We might have to have a big curve, but we'll just kind of follow that. The other thing we do need to be careful of is where the flying manta ray is. We need to make sure that we don't build too high for the flying manta ray, because obviously the factory itself is going to be a big tower up into the sky. So I need to figure out exactly where the flying manta ray is so that I can kind of work out where I want my build necessarily, because the flying manta ray does fly through here. I just don't know where and when and how. So yeah, we'll definitely have to figure that out as well. Actually don't know where the flying manta ray is at the moment. There you are. So I know how you fly. I know you fly around that and then you come up this way and then you fly around to the left there. So yeah, that'll be interesting. All right. Get this all figured out here. Okay, then we're starting to get a little bit, oh geez. It is a little laggy over here. Starting to get a little bit of a shape of what we're trying to accomplish here. I would rotate it more, but I'm afraid we'd end up running into this building. Like, we already have to S-bend it. We don't want to S-bend, you know, going crazy, so... We have to S-bend once on each end with it rotated like this, so... Yeah, I couldn't put it exactly where I wanted it over here, but I think this rotation actually works quite well. I've tried several different rotations and heights and stuff like that, and this one seems to be the best with the landscape as well as with where our current rails are. So yeah, the main rail is going to run down the center here. As we discussed, it's also going to go underground, or underground under the train station here. And then it's going to pop out, or to go down this way, it's going to pop out over here. With this now, with the height not being able to go down very low, these are 2 meter, by the way. So this is the most slope that you can have with a train line, is a 2 meter. I mean, you can go a slightly steeper, but that's only with a full-on like hill. You can't actually build at steeper than 2 meter when you're, when you're building at the exact angle. It doesn't exactly work, but because I wanted it to all be on foundation and nice and clean, then we have to go like this, but that works. It does work though, so. But yeah, so we've got, because we wanted to go down as far as we can, I decided to go with the 2.5 on this curve, the 2.5 foundation curve, which is the tightest bend you can make, just to be able to get down low enough, because I want to be a decent ways below as well. And then we're going to build up this way. Now, obviously, we can slope down even more if we wanted to. Right after we do the intersection, it slopes down even further. But I think we'll wait until we get outside here, and then we can just run along the valley and start sloping down after a little while. We could curve a little bit, do some custom rail work up to that point, and then we can start sloping down that way. But being as low as we can actually works with this as well, so yeah. This actually works out pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this, we're going to put this here. Actually, you know what? I might even put it here instead. That way, if we do just a solid foundation around the outside, we can put like it depends on where we can put our signals, but that allows us to put our signals right there if we wanted. But yeah, so that way we can build our intersection. Get our intersection built here. Okay, so our intersection is built down there. Now for this exact section here. Luckily we're going right by this. Okay, so we want... Oh, that's not going to work, is it? Oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, how did I build these last time then? I'm pretty sure I've built this like this last time. Maybe I have to go... We go right in the middle of this curve. Right there. And we should be able to make that work. Yeah, I didn't... These have to be... They'd have to be further spread out. If... Now that I remember. Yeah. To make that work. Of course, they can be put here instead. We could also make it a tighter bend. I think that would also work. Let's try that. Let's try the tighter 2.5 here. So we go out 2.5. Oh, whoops. Sorry. My brain isn't working. Yeah, so if we got the 2.5, then we can go out 2.5 again. That'll put us there. The only problem is connecting to this is going to be a nightmare. It's just not going to let me. Yeah, I don't know in a world that would, or where in a world that would work. Yeah, realistically, if I wanted to make this work correctly, I would have to make it, I'd have to, basically slide this whole thing over another 2 foundations, which is getting even closer to this. I want a bit of space in between there. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just do the regular S-bend. Or the regular, or the connection there. It'll look a little funky, but I think it'll work out best that way. So basically, we just go to where it is right there, and then just swap it. I think this is the closest you can go, even if you tried with these. So right there. Use that to break it. It's not quite in the center. I mean, maybe we could center it. I think it'll still look good. There we go. So the center of this corner would be, because it's all on a grid, it would be right roughly there. What if I can get a signal to put it there instead? Right there. There you go. See how that puts the split right there on that foundation. That's exactly the center. And then what we can do is pull this over. And we just keep going until it clicks. There you go. And then we can remove that, of course. We no longer need it. I mean, that still works. It works just fine, so. So putting this here, would that interfere? It might interfere if it was on the other side. Which we can also... We could probably make it do that too. Okay. So do the same on this side. For some reason... Yeah, it doesn't allow you to do it on this side. Or it allows you to do it with the placing of the intersection in the middle there. Very strange. Yeah, if I try to put that, yeah, then it interferes. As you can see, the signal gets put in the center. But we can also do this too. It makes a very weird intersection, but it works. Okay, I think we'll go... We need to start turning here. I haven't decided on the corners for that yet. So we'll leave that. Yeah, that is... I mean, it works, right? The reason I do this is so that the trains can, if they're coming through there, they can also hit this side as well. And you're probably also wondering, you know, where's the 5th train station, the one that's going to be exporting? Well, I wasn't able to fit that up here. I mean, I could probably fit one on this side, and it would probably still work, but I have another plan that might also work with what we're trying to do. As well. I mean, we don't necessarily have to have this either. We don't have to have that there. it'll still work properly. Because then they just go down, go up, and then turn left, or if they're up there, they just turn around and come through the middle instead. And that'll still work. We do have a little bit of clipping here, but basically though, my other plan is to have the export train station down here. But getting it hooked up is going to be a bit of a challenge as well. I don't know how I'm gonna make that work, because my original plan was to have the train station underneath here and then have connected to this, but obviously we don't have enough space for that. It's like basically turn this into a four-way on this side. So yeah, I'm not really exactly sure how I want to make that work. Have to figure that out next time, I think. I think for now we can make this platform work. So this will kind of be what we connect our rails to. Okay. I don't know how many I need to go here. Yeah, it's like once my medicine starts to wear off, it's just like, yep, I gotta go take some more, and then I'll probably end up sleeping for another like 8 hours. That's just how it goes. Ugh. I hate being sick. You know, it's like I've always said constantly, it's like when you're young, you want to be sick so that you can skip school and you know, be home and play video games or whatever. Well, for me, it was be home and then do stupid things with my friends who also decided to skip school that day. We'd plan it all out. Usually the teachers would figure it out, though. Be like, well, if this kid, and this kid are missing, then we know they're skipping school because they're all friends. It's usually how it worked out. But yeah, I'd always want to be sick, or at least, because if I wasn't sick, skipping school is a lot harder. I can still make it work, you know. I can still end up finding a way, but yeah, very interesting. very interesting, very funny. Same time. Good old times those were. Okay, so that does that as well. Perfect. Okay, and then this one's just gonna this one's just gonna go straight, so I'll just do that. And then we'll cut the rest off that we don't need. Over here coughing my brains out, of course. But yeah, now that I'm an adult, it's like getting sick is... Yeah, I've hated getting sick for the last like 20 years. It's like, ugh, I hate it. Hate being sick. It sucks. It really does. Okay. So yeah, there's our intersection that goes straight across for the main rail line. Okay. And you're probably wondering as well, how am I flying right now? Well, I've connected myself via the train station, connected it via this factory over here. Get a little pole down there going through the wall. That way I could fly around and get a bird's eye view of everything. Yeah. There goes my voice. Okay, that's looking good there. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do the 5th train station. I think we'll focus on that next time as well. We'll focus on that next time. So I think what we should do is probably focus on getting this connected. So we're going to have to S-bend. What I'm going to do is I'm going to curve up that way, aim roughly this way, and then we'll go up and try to get on the level. I don't think we're at the same level as this. So we're going to have an interesting time trying to get this to line up. We might have to do a custom rail line. Yeah, we're about 1.5. Yeah, we're about 1.5 foundations off from that height. So we'll have to do a custom rail line. We'll probably do it. Well, we could do it down here. We could do a custom rail line that S spins level and gets level with it, and then S bends, or does the S bend and level straightens out with that, and then we'll have a bridge. I mean, it could all be custom rail, I suppose. It doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, what we could do is make a turn, and then we'll make a custom hill, and then level it out, and then curve it into do a custom curve into there too. There's just 2 different grids. It's pretty hard to do the bridge stuff. I think we'll just do custom rails with the flat supports, kind of like what we have right there for that intersection. That spot right there. Ah! Come back! Power! Need you. Wanted to get rid of this foundation. I think at some point as well, we might be removing this intersection through here. It's easy. I mean, we got blueprints and stuff, but I think what would be probably a good idea at some point is to take this intersection here and remove it, and then do a roundabout intersection with 5 connections. In the 5th connection, we'll just kind of slot off this way. I think that would be a pretty good run there. Yeah. Actually, you know, it'd probably be better if we just, as soon as we got outside of here, just do a little straight piece to get outside the station and then, or get outside the factory and then S-bend down there. But yeah, I'd like to remove this intersection at some point. It just, I don't have the time to do it now, of course. Yeah, especially with a certain something coming up next week, I think. Something like that. Hopefully I better feel better by then. Jeez, otherwise I'll be going to the doctor here. Be like, what the hell's wrong with me? But yeah, let me get this rail connected down there, and we'll call that good. Alright, so just real quick here while we're kind of building this, you guys want to see a little bit of a trick on how to build rail corners. I show this off every now and again, just whenever I come across it, really. But yeah, I'm going to show you how to build this type of curve. You can see, and this isn't just for rail building or anything like that. This is for any kind of curve builds if you want to build them. So basically, this is what they call a 5-degree corner. Basically, we have our rail here, but so you start out with your foundation here. What you're going to do is you're going to grab out your if the foundation doesn't necessarily have to be the same, but it's just easy if it is. But you can build with any size or thickness of foundation. So, but what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and aim your cursor at this corner while holding out the foundation. Make sure if you're doing rails and you're doing a dual rail line, make sure it's in zoop mode. So when you go to place it, you can place 2 foundations. If you're doing a dual rail line, or 4 if you're doing quad or triple rail, if you're doing, anything crazy like that. But yeah, so basically, you want to know which way your corner's going, first of all. So we're curving off to the left here. So what you're going to do is you're going to come to the outside of the corner, which is the far right side. If you're curving right, you would be off to the far left side to build your curve. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold control. And if you haven't rotated yet, it's going to usually be at the exact same rotation as your foundation. But you're going to aim right at that corner, and you know you're aiming at the corner is if you push off to the side, it goes off. If you push off to the right or left or whichever, it also pushes off or falls off there. So once we got that, then what we're going to do is while we're holding control, we're going to use our mouse scroll wheel, and we're going to scroll towards our corner. It's the other way. Scroll towards our corner. And then while holding control, you're going to try and hit your H key, which is pretty hard to do sometimes, but you're going to hit your H key to lock it in. You can see it's locked in now. We can let our hands off the keyboard, and it's just sitting there waiting for us to do something to it. So now that we're in the nudge mode, since we're in 1.1, you can nudge down. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it depends on how thick your foundation is how many times you're going to nudge it down. Mine, I'm using a 4-meter foundation, so I nudge it down 4, and it nudges a meter each time. So if you're using a 1 meter, you're only going to nudge it down once, and, and so on. So and then what we're going to do is we're going to nudge. This one actually needs to be nudged 4 meters in 2 different directions. So we're going to go nudging towards the inside of our corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to nudge away from our corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're going to see that when we go to look at it, you can see it's exactly where it needs to be. And it makes a perfect corner. What you can do, and then you're going to click the once to place it. And then you're going to drag it over, since we're doing dual rail. Drag it over and then place it again, or click it again, and then you can see we get a perfect corner. There is another way to build curves as well. This method's actually been pretty dang fast, because it used to be you had to place it. You'd have to place it for your rotation, and then you'd have to place another foundation underneath it, and then drag it over, or nudge it and then drag it over before the vertical nudge came out. And the other way was faster, but now the way I just showed you is probably the fastest. But another fast way is you can take a catwalk intersection, and you can place it just like that. And you can see it gets it right on the edge. You want to place this on the outside of your corner. Then you can hold control while aiming at this, and you can rotate it once, and you can place it like that. Now this is a 10-degree corner, and then you're going to place 2, by the way. This is a 10-degree corner, so we can go ahead and place that and drag it over, and you still get that perfect. You remove the catwalks. Oops, did I not? I didn't do that right, did I? I probably did not do that right. I'm pretty sure I did it correctly, it just didn't. Oh, does it? It doesn't do a perfect curve, does it? But it does do a curve. It just overlaps it slightly. There's probably a way to use it, or to use that so it does a perfect curve and it doesn't overlap. But yeah, and this is a 10-degree corner, as you can see here. You get the 5-degree turn, and then you've got the 10-degree. It's not exact, obviously, it's just easier to say. But yeah, just to kind of show the difference here. So yeah, there's the difference. You can kind of see the other one here, how much more it is rotated. There's probably a way to get a perfect curve for that angle, but it's just easier to do it this other method, aiming at the edge. But yeah, that's basically how I did it, and that's how I'm going to line these up basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep pushing each of these exactly the same, so we can make a perfect S curve until we aim at each other. And then, oops, a little bit of lag there. There we go. Okay, so one more. Well, I don't know which from which side. I'll have to count the foundations, but yeah, that's basic. And then we're just going to slope it from there, and that should make a pretty nice looking, pretty aesthetically pleasing looking rail line. Alrighty then, just before I get this finished up, just as a quick little thing before I do that, we got our rail line placed. We've got our curve, which is looking pretty darn good, or our S-bend. And then we've got our slope here, which actually worked out pretty nicely with the, that hill right there as well. It was a really close. I think I was about half a meter off when it came to between this foundation and the other foundation at the edge of the curve there. The reason the curves are flat and then we've got the slope here in the middle and it's not all sloped is because, I mean, I probably could slope it all, but it'd be very difficult. But also this length right here for this slope is kind of hitting the length of the actual rail line that is allowed to be placed. So, but yeah, the one thing I did want to touch on though is, just in case you do not know, there's a nice little trick that things can be stuck to the bottom of rails depending on what you're trying to place. Basically anything from except for the beams, but anything from the pillars section underneath architecture, anything from here can be snapped to the bottom of the rails. So yeah, you can see I can snap this to the bottom and it'll follow the curvature of the rail. And if I want to place foundations down, I can do that. Once we get this autosave here, one little trick. If you want to put down foundations, say for this curve, as I'll say it's a custom curve and it wasn't built on foundations already. It was like I just put a couple of foundations over here and then I just kind of ran the rail line to it. Sorry, my brain is kind of stopping here. But yeah, what I can do is I can place this and then I can go over here and roughly right about there. You said roughly twice, but yeah, roughly right about there. You can put this here, and then what we do is we go vertical with a foundation. And on this one, do a vertical with the foundation. It does overlap a little bit, but that's okay. If it's a custom corner, it's going to be pretty difficult to get it perfect. But yeah, and then what you can do is you can just run that like that, run that like that. And you can see you got a foundation that follows the curvature of your rail line. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with that, with this particular way of building, but you can do that. Or you can put these smaller ones in, and then you can also snap foundations of that, or you can snap big like pillar stuff, or just roughly anything. But for this particular build, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight to these pillars, these frame pillar pieces here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the outside of the curve. So like that. And we'll put it on default mode. We're going to do 3, 4, 5. And I'm just kind of touching the edges there of each piece. So we're going to go 6, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in zoom mode, go straight down. And we'll just go into the ground. I mean, you could go one above and then put like a concrete footer or whatever. But yeah, we're just going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this across this. And then I'm just going to drag this down, and there's a set of my legs. And what I can do to make this quick and easy is just do this. And because of the way this curve was placed, being perfect, perfectly distanced in between each rail, I can just place this and it'll follow the perfect curvature. But you got to build it on the outside. If you build it on the inside, you'll have gaps in between that one and that one. You'll have a little gap instead of them touching. So you want to build the outside of the curve. Then I'm just going to go follow the slope, and I'm just going to follow this whole pattern all the way up there. So we'll just do that. Alrighty then. So finally got all the supports done for the entire rail line, which yeah, for a custom rail line looks pretty good. I think we'll just do the other side like this as well, but we'll do that next time, getting that connected and stuff like that. But unfortunately we have hit the end of our episode. Luckily I didn't make it all the way to the end, so that's pretty good. I didn't know if I was going to, considering my medication had ran out essentially. But for the most part though, we got done a decent amount. We got a little rail line place. We've got our starting to our next factory, which is the supercomputers tower. And I'm pretty sure you're wondering what the heck that little yellow block is right there. That yellow block is the height limit on this particular factory piece, or on the train station. I could not go any higher than this because the flying manta ray is little, I don't know what to call it, little dangler, I guess we'll say, for a lack of a better word, does like touch the top of this block, and he does kind of fly up a little bit, but he stays mostly at this level. So yeah, but it does look like, I think for the most part, it does look like the tower can go up in the center of this build, because of the way the flying manta ray flies. Of course, we'll have to measure out his wingspan and stuff like that, but we'll see about that next time. It'll be probably start working on that stuff on the Monday episode. But yeah, we've got a good start on our supercomputer factory, which, like I said, is going to be a tower. We're going to go really high up into the air and then have the manufacturers at the very top. I think that could be a pretty cool piece as well, like a central factory to this, to our electronic factories, which I think is going to be pretty good. So, but anyway, like I said, I do believe that is going to be it for this episode of Satisfactory. So yeah, even though I was sick and kind of monotone this entire episode, I do still hope you enjoyed. Oh, and before you go, I'd like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see on your screen right now. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.